2.0. My name is Cindy. We're probably going to be joined with my son Elijah. We're waiting for Trump for them to televise the live event. Right now, we're waiting for Trump and the White House to, I guess, bring the video so that we all can see this event. But while we waiting for it, I really wanted to touch on what's going on in Los Angeles. We did do a video yesterday. And don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys. I always forget to say that. But I want to speak on prior to Trump coming into, the Oval Office and having this meeting with the investment group. I want to talk about what's going on in Los Angeles. We did do a video yesterday, like, all of the fighting and everything. But I want to, I hear myself. So it's terrible. To me, it looks like, my title for my video yesterday was, this looks like that it's a third world country. The things that are going on in America, you could thank a Democrat for that. This is all the residuals from former President Joe Biden. See, they left us so many problems moving forward because as far as the United States, we shouldn't be going through this. You have our president that's trying to settle a war between Ukraine and Russia. They think that we're supposed to focus on them. Look what's happening right now inside of our country. We have, and this is from my perspective as a Black American, we have people that are inside of our country that are here illegally. Let's just get that elephant out of the room. They're here illegally. They are so emboldened that they feel as though that they have the same rights as we do as Americans, citizens, but they don't. Now, if they want citizenship, there's a way to obtain citizenship like all the countries in the world. You have to apply for it. How many of them have applied for citizenship? How many of them are seeking to become a United States citizen the legal way? They just want it to be handed to them. And the difference is when you come into the country and you apply for citizenship, you learn about this country, you learn about the foundation, and that's why the people that obtain their citizenship, they feel more American than Americans because they earned it. When you give something to people, just like you give a child a toy or you give your teenager a car that they didn't have to pay for it, they don't care whether the car get wrecked. They don't care whether the car is kept clean because it was given to them. But when you earn something, you have respect for it. These illegal immigrants do not have respect for this country. Currently, they are burning the American flag. And what the flag represents to Americans is that people fought and died for the freedoms of the citizens of this country. I work for the federal government. If you lower the flag and you allow that flag to touch the ground, a vet will go off. You do not even allow the flag to touch the ground. So I'm amazed that they are burning it on camera and they're spitting on the flag. That's spitting on America. Then they are running around with the country of origin, with their country's flag. So they need to go back to their country because they don't respect this one. Not only are they spitting on the flag and burning the American flag, that they feel as though that American people are going to side with this. I want to let them know that I guess they didn't get the memo. We're not with you on this, especially a lot more Black Americans are turning away and against this. When Joe Biden allowed these illegal immigrants, not because he cared, not because the administration didn't care, this was a plot to allow these people to come in because they want the votes. This has always been about power, always been about votes. They don't care if they destroy the country. They're not fighting it. Even the Democrats, they're not speaking against this. They want this to go on, and then they want to blame Trump, who had nothing to do with the open borders. And he wants to bring law and order because there's lawlessness going on. They are being allowed by Governor Newsom and Mayor Bass to destroy LA, to destroy California. They have graffiti everything. They know that because of them having sanctuary city status, that the police don't touch them. They allow them to do whatever they want to. If ICE goes in, that's because ICE has studied the people. They know who they are after. They know who the criminals are. But they want to get in the way. I don't even know if they are citizens, or are these just people that are planted to cause chaos, because they're going after people that could bring harm to everyone. Everyone. And they're fighting this tooth and nail, like they're fighting for the rights of Americans, and you're not. What they're doing is out of order. They're destroying. This has been going on. This is the fourth day. And this has been going on for days. And it's been allowed because every blue state has a Democratic leadership, and they're allowing the states and the cities to be run over by these people. They have given them health care. They've given them jobs that they're not supposed to be working. They've given them apartments. They've given them education, food stamps, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. There is more of them in these offices than Americans who are entitled to these benefits. There are more of them in Social Security offices, Medicare offices, Medicaid than vets. Our vets are still on the street, while these people have priority even over the people that fought for this country. And to make matters worse, they're spitting on the flag, and you're burning the flag. So this is what you want to do with our country. So we're waiting for Trump. So I'm just talking about this. So this is from my perspective as a Black American. When Trump had to win, because if they were still in office, the borders would still be open, which people don't give Trump credit for. The media just gloss over it. Oh, the borders are closed. No, they had the borders open for years. They were flying people in for years. They allowed this nonsense to go on, and this is the result of it, and this is only the beginning. Remember this is just the beginning of it. You have 14 million or more homeless people here that we're taking care of through our limited resources. It's limited now because we have $36 trillion worth of debt that none of the previous presidents wanted to tackle. So now we're at the point of bankruptcy that our children, or even our generation, and children's children, it's not going to be a country left. We cannot. America will fall to its face, and we would not be the #1 world power if we continue this road. So something has to be done for all of us. And then when they say, okay, look at what's going on and how they're being treated, look at their behaviors. You don't fight against law enforcement, against ICE, Homeland Security. They even had to take the National Guards out there for order because they're running amok. They're vandalizing stores. They're spray painting. Look at all the costs and damages. It might wind up being $1 billion worth of damage when they get through destroying that city because they don't care. It's not their country. And when they protest, if they love America, if they want to be Americans, why aren't they flying the American flag? I see Mexico flag. I see all flags from all other countries, except really from the United States of America. So I'm not on board with them. I'm not on board with them at all, because the first thing that the Democratic Party did, they had taken away from resources in the Black communities. That's why former presidents, what happens is that they get the job reports, and our job employment went down, and illegal immigrants were being hired more than American citizens. And to make matters worse, what the Democrats did, they dumped them inside of our communities using our taxpayer dollars. And then Black people are going to run out there 93% and vote for this nonsense when they put them in your communities. And you have immigrants saying, y'all not getting nothing. It's nothing for you. Because they are so entitled, but it's our taxpayer dollars that are supporting them. But when we say, well, we need to upgrade our schools, or we need more programs, or we need more employment, then that's not a priority for the Democrats. American citizens are not the priority at all. We're not the priority. You will not find a Democrat talking about the rights of Americans. They're supposed to be our constituents. You know what they've been doing? Van Hollen's El Salvador. He went over there for Kilmar Garcia, but he had two constituents murdered by El Salvadorians, and he didn't even have the decency to go meet with the families of the Americans that suffer at the hand of illegal immigrants. That's what these politicians are doing. They're not siding, and you won't hear them talk about Lake and Raleigh, Rachel Morin, and all the others that have suffered at the hands of these people. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about the people that voted them into office. They're not fighting for us. They're fighting for them, and they're fighting for them because of votes. It's always going to be about votes. At the end of the day, it's always about power. They know that they have Black Americans, they have our votes locked down. 93% of Black people, they said for the last 60 years, been voting for the Democratic Party and receiving nothing in return. They don't even have to earn our votes, but they need another voting block. So that's why they're putting all these giving these people lavishly providing for them more than American citizens. They have an advantage. They have an advantage when it comes to the law. They're not following the laws. They don't have to follow laws. Look at the behaviors. They put them in jail and they let them out. They're not held to the same accountabilities that we are held to, especially Black Americans. There ain't no way in hell we could carry on like that. And one thing I see some of the other news channels do, because there's always racism always involved in everything. Some of the newscasts, they want to bring up about Black Lives Matter, and they didn't act on that, and how what Black people did, and all that. Well, I'm going to address this as a Black woman. Black Lives Matter was a great idea, but it was the wrong people that were in charge. You had these people that had their own agenda, and greed always creeps into it. It became about them making money. These were two lesbians or whatever that were heading it. But what Black people were tired of, the difference about us, we've been in this country for 400 years. 400 years of suppression, and been through hell, been through slavery, been through lynchings, been through so many injustices. And after 400 years, I think it was probably time that when we actually now, you have social media now. We're in the social media world now. So when you actually see a cop with his knee on someone's neck and he's pleading for his mother, his deceased mother, and he didn't commit a crime. He didn't commit a crime. We watched him literally murdered in front of our eyes. Everybody, the world reacted to it because it was so, just to see it just struck a nerve. And mind you, a lot of things probably like that has happened for Black Americans, but that hit home for not just Black people, for white people. So when they do the comparison, you can't compare 400 years of going through hell. You can't compare it to that, to what these immigrants who've been in the country for 3 years, they have not been suppressed. They didn't go through slavery. They didn't go through lynchings. They didn't go through all of the perils that Black people have endured being a citizen of this country. And that makes a difference. So there's no comparison to 400 years to these people and what they're doing in Los Angeles. They've been here a hot second. They have not been suppressed. They have been rolled out the red carpet. They get free education. They'll take an American family of 4. This man was crying. He got $500. An immigrant family of 4 for SNAP. They got $3,500 a month. Same 4, same amount of people. They had priority with the illegal immigrants over actual American citizens. That's the kind of stuff that's going on. They're dumped in our neighborhoods. Like all they're acting out and what they're doing. Why? You're here and you should be on your best behavior because you are illegally here. But instead, they're out in the streets. They're in a state that's being run by illegal immigrants. They think that they could destroy, they spray paint. I don't know who's selling them all the spray paint. They're destroying cop vehicles. Have you ever seen anything like this? Let black people do that. You dead on arrival. This is crazy. It's crazy and it's unacceptable. But you can't compare it to 400 years of people going through some horrific times in history. Things have gotten better. I think Trump has been the most decent freaking president for black people. I don't know since when, because Obama didn't do anything for black people. He was the LGBTQ president. And Biden was a transgender and Oprah illegal immigrant president. So Trump, with his first step back and what he's doing for HBCUs, but one thing Trump knows, that this is a fact. This is a fact. We cannot become successful without black Americans. We all have to do well. He understands that. You can't just be about white Americans and leave out black Americans. Everyone has to do well to get this country back on its feet. That's why he's investing in HBCUs and in black enterprises or whatever, because he knows that we all have to do well to bring us out of a $36 trillion deficit. Black Americans pour in over $1 trillion a year into the economy. We have spending power. We buy in everybody else's communities instead of our own, which we got to work on. So that's why he understands that we can't do it alone. We all have to be one nation under God. And we have to do this together. Blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians, Indian, indigenous, all of us have to come together as one nation under God. What we got going on in Los Angeles, that's not America. That's a third world country. That's not America. We don't behave like that. We had our one moment, but we're American citizens. We are citizens. We're citizens. They are not. And to me, when you're not supposed to say, be in a class, you don't go in a class and you act up when you're not supposed to be there. You go, you sit down, you be quiet, and you learn so they don't put you out. They don't know how to go in a classroom and be quiet so they don't get put out. This is not what we want for our country. That's why a lot of black people are like saying now, deport them all. They are a burden. We spent, $570 billion or whatever, however much it was for them to be here. That's not adding to our economy. It's hurting us. It's hurting us. But as Americans, I don't see how you could watch all of this shenanigans, all of this going on, and don't feel some type of way about it. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, or whatever you call yourself, non-voter. But to see them actually burning this, they're taking joy. And I'm going to show that video later on. I'm just waiting for Trump to come on. So I'm just having this discussion. To watch them burning the American flag, how do vets feel about that? That they got sent over there. Some of them lost legs, arms. They suffering from mental illness. And how many have lost their lives fighting for this country? And this is how we allowed this to happen? Are you kidding me? And you got some crazy Americans that are out there like fighting for them, but you're not fighting for us. You're not fighting for Americans. Why are you allowing these lefties not to do their jobs, do anything for us? They don't fight for you. They don't even talk about you. They got you so gaslighted, just like the election. They made you focus on abortion. When did abortion become something to run off of? Eliminating babies. They were in office, not Trump. But they made you think like Trump was the president that did all this. He wasn't, y'all. Newsflash. Trump was not the president. Trump didn't cause any of this crap. Trump had handed over the job and the task to clean this crap up. And the list is long. He can't even breathe. He got Zelensky and Russia going at it. They acting crazy every other day, bombing each other. Then you got the war in Gaza. This is all under the Democratic watch. They could have stopped this. They wanted war. They actually wanted a World War III. Before Biden left office, he's like, oh yeah, shoot the missiles into Russia. He was trying to poke the bear. Now they poke the bear. So you know, like Trump said, we all knew, well, Russia has to hit back. Because guess what? They're the second power in the world. It's Russia. And then China. Guess whose Russia ally is? China. So Zelensky, he's like egging them on. Yeah, let's have this big war. You know, he wants the war. But we don't want that. Because this is not a war that's going to be fought just on the battlefields. A nuclear war will hit everybody. So we don't want that. But we got these people that don't see, and then we're back to our own country. We have too many of our own problems. Trump had to deal with inflation, low inflation, the economy, all these illegal immigrants. He has to deal with all these problems. He even had to deal with Elon Musk the last few days. Hi. He even had to deal with him. And then we got all this going on. And it's crazy. So we're just waiting for Trump to come on. But I'm just touching on, from a black perspective, what's going on. And this is why black people are like, look, deport them all. Because these are not the criminals that are out there doing all of this. Who told you can override the United States of America? Who told you that you could override the President of the United States of America? Who told you that you were above the law, that you don't have to follow our laws, that you can hit ICE officers, you could hit police officers, you could throw boulders or all these rocks and everything and destroy their cars? You could do all these destructive things. You could destroy the businesses, deface properties. Who told you that you can run over our country like this? Because if the Democrats have gaslighted you to the point that you're out there and you feel like you have a right to destroy our country, they lied to you. They lied to you. And this is not going to end well for you. Because this is a turn off for Americans, citizens. I don't know if you realize that the Democrats lost the last election and Trump is the president, that Trump won all the swing states. Trump won since, 2003 or whatever. He won the popular vote, that he's our president. You're not going to override our government. See, these are the things that you used to do at your country, and you got away with it. But wait till he put that iron fist down on this stuff. And see, and you know how the Democrats are spending this? They're spending it like it's Trump's fault. That Trump, look at him, he got the National Guards. Who in this chat doesn't agree that he should not have sent the National Guards to Los Angeles? Do you agree that he should have sent the National Guards to Los Angeles? Or do you think that Governor Newsom and Mayor Batts had it all under control? That's a question for y'all. Do y'all think that they had it under control? You really agree with me? Yes. No. Thank you for standing up. You are a good person. Thank you. History show that Donald Trump was the best thing that happened to the America. He was the best thing. We needed him right now. Trump did right. If Trump didn't send the National Guards, what do you think would have been happening? Because ICE was not enough ICE officers, and those blue states, those sanctuary states, the cops not do anything to those people. They can, you saw them, they can hit cops. That's called assault. Cops were ducking while they were throwing boulder rocks on. They destroyed their cars. They lit them up. They were burning down everything they can burn down. And they're continuing. And the lefties have the audacity, like, we're so stupid. Everybody is showing what's going on. How are you going to lie to us about what we are witnessing? That was out of control. It's out of control. And you know what Governor Newsom has done? Nothing. Did he go out there and speak to the people? He should have had a freaking news conference and been clear that this is unacceptable. This is America. We got to respect our authorities. We will handle this in court. ICE are not just going after anyone. They're trying to make you safe, because these are actual criminals that these people are fighting for. They're fighting for actual criminals, not your everyday immigrant. They're fighting ICE, they specifically is going after people that they know what they have committed, the crimes that they have done. Now, the people that get in the crosshairs or whatever, that crossfires, that's because of the fact that ICE have always said they just want to go into their prisons and remove them, but they won't allow them to. So they have to go out on the street in order to get them. So this is what they're doing, because they won't allow them to go back out on the street. They're being charged with murder, let them go back out on the street. They're being charged with raping children, let them go back out on the street. They're being charged with robbery, let them go back on the street. They're being charged with assault, let them go back out on the street. That's what the judge did. You have the victim sitting in court, and I think it was Judge Dunn or something like that, I forget her name. She's going to take and let the illegal out the back door. But he victimized people that were sitting in court. Can you imagine that? They're there for justice and the judge is letting them out the back door so he can assault more people. Who's going to respect you when you know that you can get away with it? Your children don't respect you if you allow them to get away with things. If you tell your child, look, you have to do your homework, you don't do your homework and clean up your room, then I'm going to take away, say, your PlayStation, and you're going to be on punishment. And then you come back, the kid didn't do what they were supposed to do, then they receive the punishment. So these people are doing stuff and there's no punishment. They don't even want them to be punished. So I'm at the point, if this continues like this, and we can expect it, okay, we're still waiting for them to come in for the meeting. They're going to start it soon because I see they are lining up. But we expect them to do something about what's going on. And this is crazy. It's really crazy. It's crazy. And no one should be allowing this. This is just like my executive board meeting, the way they try. I guess they all set it up like this. So this is crazy. But they're out of order. And we need to hold the freaking Democrat leaders responsible. You got Maxine Ward is here. Oh, I want to go see about them. They won't let me in. Stop it. Go see about the prisoners that are in American citizens in American jails. Go see about their welfare. You see, you won't get no news on that. You only get news when you talk about the illegal aliens, because y'all made that, because y'all mainstream media and y'all all in it together. Y'all made that like the priority. You know? So it's just ridiculous that all that's going on. But we're here for a reason. And this is called Speak the Truth 2.0, because we're not going to sugarcoat it for you. You know, you can't even be a Christian or a man or woman of God if you go along with the okie doke to be a people pleaser, go along with people. And the truth hurts. People don't like to hear the truth, but we're watching it. We're seeing it. Everyone is broadcasting it. You can't, if you don't like it, then just don't watch anything, because it's happening in real time. I'm going to go live later on. I'm going to upload a video about how my community is looking at it and how we're perceiving it. Americans are not down with this. That's why we voted against this mess. And look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. They literally are taking over the city, and the Democrats are doing nothing about it. They're not even telling them to stand down. They want them acting up because somehow they want to twist this and put it on Trump as though he's the governor of California or he's the mayor of California. This is under their watch. This is their responsibility. So that's what we're waiting for Trump to come into this meeting. So that's why I'm just taking the time to this is mayhem that's been going on. Yeah, Cindy keeps telling the truth. If anything, they're fighting those trying to stop the carnage. You can't. Let's see. This is going too fast. Let me hit on. Yeah, this is like this stuff that's going on, and as Americans, we need to be speaking our voices. And one thing I noticed about the Republicans, because I'm used to Democrats, I'm an activist. I usually advocate for people's rights and all of that, and I'm used to having rallies like that hands-off rallies you saw, the 50-51 and all that. But Republicans don't rally. They don't show. You don't hear them, but you have to speak up because silence can't be heard. And it might be time for people that are supporting Trump and people that don't believe in all that's been happening in this country to have a rally, America First rally. So people could see the 77 million people that voted for him to be in office and let people know we are not down with what's going on. We are not for this. We want our country to continue to prosper and grow. We're going backwards. Ever since that last administration, we have plummeted in the world. It wasn't until Trump came back in office that at least they show respect. Because anytime, I don't think anybody else has had a jet escort into their countries like Trump had when he went over to Saudi Arabia. It was phenomenal. And when they respect him, then that's respecting us. But then he comes back home and he's so disrespected by that party. They have made him into the boogeyman. They have made him into everything that he's not, and he's not perfect. He has done a lot of things that people don't like, but he's done a lot of great things that people don't speak enough about. And then people don't speak about what these people, the left, have continued to do to this country and have done to the country. And guess what? They're condoning the what's happening in Los Angeles. They condone what happens in New York. They are for all of this. And when Trump tries to bring back order to this lawlessness, then they say, oh, Trump is bringing in the National Guards. He needs to. He has to. He should be coming in any minute and waiting for Trump to come in. Yeah, he has to. Because it looked like he has to save America at this point. It looked like he's going to have to save America. That's what looks like is going on. Because they're ready for America just to fail. Okay, he's in. Okay, Trump is.
You went before. No, you said 55. Let's go to the president. You went over.
There goes Susie. I don't know if that music be copyright or not. There go Mike Johnson. Okay, his mic is on.
Some exciting days in the last
week,
I would say, mostly good. Some of the things you're reading about in Los Angeles, thank goodness we sent out some wonderful National Guard. They've really helped in a lot of problems they were having out there. They were afraid to do
That's
anything.
an
They sent out
understatement.
the troops, and they've done a fantastic job. So I want to thank them very much. I also want to thank you for being here as we discuss one of the most exciting parts of the One Big Beautiful Bill. It is indeed a big, beautiful bill, and it's doing very well. The Trump Accounts, as they call it, pilot program, which will make it possible for countless American children to have a strong start in life at no cost to the American taxpayer. Absolutely no cost. It's going to have a huge impact. I want to thank House Speaker Mike Johnson for number one, being a great speaker, and number two, perhaps slightly less important, for being here today. Thank you, Mike. Along with Chairman Jason Smith, who's fantastic, and Representatives French Hill, August Pfluger, Blake Moore, Rob Bresnahan, and Frank Lucas. Thank you all, fellas. Thank you very much. We appreciate it very much. Thanks as well to many top business leaders from Invest America, CEO, Council. It's been a wonderful council. They've come up with some fantastic ideas. We're putting them into use. They're really the greatest business minds we have today. These men and women lead large, successful companies, and they're committed to contributing millions of dollars to the Trump account. And it's really, it's going to be something incredible for children and for their employees in many cases. Here's how the accounts work. For every U.S. citizen born after December 31st, 2024, before January 1st, 2029, the federal government will make a one-time contribution of $1,000 into a tax-deferred account that will track the overall stock market. In other words, it'll be pegged to an index that we'll pick. Right, Michael? We'll pick it. We'll pick a good one. Maybe you should be the index. I'd like to have that. These kids would be very wealthy if that were the case. That would be good. I think we might do that, Michael Dell. These accounts will be private property controlled by the child's guardians, and in many cases, those guardians will be the parents. We think probably the parents will be the guardians. They'll be open for additional private contributions each year from family, friends, parents, employers, churches, private foundations, and more. This is a pro-family initiative that will help millions of Americans harness the strength of our economy to lift up the next generation, and they'll really be getting a big jump on life, especially if we get a little bit lucky with some of the numbers and the economies into the future. In addition to the substantial financial benefits of investing early in life, extensive research shows that children with savings accounts are more likely to graduate high school and college, buy a home, start a business, and are less likely to be incarcerated. Trump accounts will contribute to the lifelong success of millions of newborn babies. They are fully, and this will be very interesting, I think, for everybody to hear, they are fully funded through targeted reforms in the One Big Beautiful Bill, like the $1.7 trillion in mandatory savings, welfare reforms to stop waste and fraud, a 3.5% remittance tax, and more. And it's just a part of that. The One Big Beautiful Bill is among the most important pieces of legislation in our country's history. I don't think there's ever been anything bigger. And I think it's going to go down as certainly one of the most important things we'll ever have done. In addition to the largest tax cuts in the history of our country, including the most powerful border security measures ever, it delivers major economic relief to the American workers' families. And there's so many things. Rebuilding our military, we built it just 8 years ago. We started and did a great job, but now we have to rebuild it again, plus technology change. All of a sudden it's about drone. We have a new form of warfare. It's drone warfare. So a lot of things change. We did a great job with the military, but now we're going to have to do some little tweaks, to put it mildly. And we'll be doing that, and we have it all nicely funded. I look forward to signing this into law. It's really something that we're having such an opportunity. And I have to say, he's here with us. He's a person that I've admired for a long time. You take a look at what he's done and followed his record. And it's Dell Chairman Michael Dell. He's done such an incredible job. It's as a business person, I study business people, and that's a perfect one to study. It should be almost mandatory reading. So I want to congratulate you on that, and thank you for the idea, because you're the first one that really brought this to my attention. I know that you and your friends have been talking about it for a long time, but other presidents didn't get it done, Michael, right? So we got it done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Sure, I want to also give some recognition to my friend Brad Gerstner, who helped get us all organized
That's right.
and actually
Thank you very much. Good, Chris.
spearheaded this.
Good. And also we have with us a very powerful man in the world of business, CEO David Solomon of Goldman Sachs. David, thank you very much.
Thank you for
Longtime
having me.
friend.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi. Where is Khosrowshahi? Where? Thank you very much. That's a hell of a name, but you've done a hell of a job. So that's appropriate. And also, again, Chairman Smith for doing such a good job. Nobody knows taxes better than Chairman Smith. When we have a problem, Mike, we go to see Chairman Smith, right? So I want to thank you very much, Dara and Chairman Smith. I appreciate it. So I'd like to begin by asking Speaker Johnson to say a few words. And I think then we're going to go to Michael Dell, David Solomon. We're going to go to Dara and then to Chairman Smith. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, thank you so much for your bold, visionary leadership. It is the key to all of this great success that we are achieving. And the One Big Beautiful Bill, it is not an overstatement to say it will be one of the most consequential pieces of legislation in the history of Congress. There's a lot in here. And by extension, or I would say it is an extension of the figure who I believe will be the most consequential president of the modern era, if not all American history, and that's the gentleman sitting to my left. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you very much. That's a beautiful statement. Huh? I like him too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a statement of objective fact, and every working American understands, I think, the principle behind this concept that we're discussing today. If you have a 401k, you understand the power of investing early for the future. Trump accounts take that same principle, and they apply it from the very beginning of Americans' lives. It's a pretty simple concept. The families that opt in will receive a one-time payment of $1,000 to a Trump account that parents can contribute to. It's a bold, transformative policy that gives every eligible American child a financial head start.
Wow.
From day one.
That's
Republicans
awesome.
are proud to be the party that we always have been, that supports life and families and prosperity and opportunity. And Trump accounts are all about setting up the next generation for success.
Beautiful.
For future Americans, this early investment could really be the game changer. It could be a difference. It could pave the way for paying their way through college or buying their first home or starting a business, even when they're young. So even $1,000 at birth will put these Americans in a better position than over half of American adults who sadly have no retirement savings at all. So this would be a remedy to that great problem. And it will encourage the free market. It will encourage investment and understanding of capitalism. All these things that we want to foster among the American people so that the economy and individual lives can flourish. Of course, none of this happens unless we pass our One Big Beautiful Bill through Congress. And we have at stake the largest tax increase in American history if we fail to deliver. And we will not have this rocket fuel to the U.S. economy, and that's why this is so very important. Passing this pro-growth legislation will help every single American. From Trump accounts, this is one of the components of it, to eliminating taxes on tips and overtime, to reducing red tape on Main Street. And the One Big Beautiful Bill is going to drive prosperity. It's going to create jobs across the country. It will make all boats rise. Wages will go up. Job participation levels will go up. We'll have more opportunity, more economic opportunity for more people. So you can climb up that ladder to the next step. The typical family with 2 children is going to see their take-home pay increase by up to $13,300 a year. That's real money to real people. This legislation is geared for hardworking Americans, and it is going to help everybody. And we are excited to deliver it. It can't happen soon enough. We are very close now to that finish line. After about 14 months worth of work that's gone into this, we're excited that we're almost there. Mr. President, thanks again for your leadership, to all the great leaders around this table for all that they invest to our economy and our country and its government. And I will, as we say in the House, I'll yield back.
Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate it. And again, for a great job. Thank you very much. Michael? please.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I believe this is an incredible moment for all of us here today, and it's wonderful to be with some of the leaders of the most successful companies in the world as we come together to invest in the future of our country. We see the Invest America Act and the establishment of these Trump accounts as a simple yet powerful way to transform lives. Decades of research have shown that giving children a financial head start profoundly impacts their long-term success. With these accounts, children will be much more likely to graduate from college, to start a business, to buy a home, and achieve lifelong financial stability. Dell Technologies is proud to be one of the very first companies to support the Invest America Act, a bill that provides every child with a $1,000 seed investment account at birth. This is a straightforward step with enduring benefits. Following your inspiring lead, Mr. President, Dell Technologies will match the government's contributions, dollar for every child born to a Dell team member. This isn't just a new benefit, this is an investment in our people, their families, our communities, and America's future. And it embodies our core belief that opportunity should begin at birth. My wife Susan and I, also through our family foundation, have been closely studying the Invest America Act. And assuming that it becomes law, we expect to make a very significant gift. We view this initiative as a powerful platform for philanthropic innovation aimed at helping children thrive wherever they come from, particularly those families who have been historically left behind. Mr. President, you articulated it perfectly. These Invest America accounts will give every new American child a genuine opportunity to participate in history's greatest engine of economic growth, the American economy. The funds in these accounts invested in American enterprise and innovation will grow over time into substantial nest eggs, providing support for education, home ownership, and starting families. The ability of families, friends, benefactors, and employers to match the government's generosity amplifies the life-changing potential of this initiative. Thank you, Mr. President, for your visionary leadership on this critical issue. These Invest America accounts will profoundly impact countless young Americans, ensuring they truly benefit from what Abraham Lincoln described as the right of every American, the right to rise. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Beautiful.
We really have come a long way since you came to see me about 6 months ago with your beautiful wife. We had a nice talk. I said, that sounds pretty good. Let's think about that. And it's everybody I've spoken to about it, they can't even believe it. And because of great politicians and political leaders like we have, I think this is going to go quickly, very well and very quickly. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. David Solomon, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm thrilled to be here with everyone and excited to participate in this important and timely discussion. I'd also like to acknowledge the efforts of so many in Congress on this very significant issue, and in particular the members here, and particularly the leadership of Senator Cruz and Representative Moore, who have played a big role in helping drive this forward. We also wouldn't be here today without the leadership of Brad Gerstner and Michael Dell in really having the vision, the energy, the passion, the commitment to help move this forward. So thank you both. There are many reasons why the United States has the largest and most dynamic and most innovative economy in the world. But one of the most important is the fact that our system of democratic capitalism incentivizes a culture that does not penalize people for taking risks. In fact, it incentivizes people to have a vision, to go out and attract funding that's necessary to make their vision a reality. It is no mistake that many of the most important and innovative companies in the world today started in a parent's garage or on a college campus or in any one of a number of unlikely places in the United States. One of my worries is that our current and future generations of young people don't fully appreciate and aren't as educated as well as they can be on markets and capitalism. And while capitalism is not perfect, it helps fuel the American dream. This initiative gets at the core of binding those future generations to the benefits and the potential of America's great companies and markets. Early childhood investments have far-reaching benefits, and Goldman Sachs is proud to support this initiative. This is an exciting opportunity for public-private partnership and for both communities and companies to invest in young people, the future of America. Once we see the Invest in America Act signed into law, Goldman Sachs would be excited to further support this Invest in America initiative. We believe passionately in our capital markets. They're an enormous competitive strength for the United States, and we know that our economy's future vitality is dependent on young people understanding the power of investing for the long term and sharing in the benefits of ideas that bring value to the lives of people around the world. Thank you, Mr. President, for helping drive this forward, and I look forward to continued partnership on this effort.
Thank you very much, David. Dara, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. President, for hosting us here today. It's an incredible honor to be here in a place that symbolizes the very opportunity that has defined my life. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Michael, for your vision. We all strive to build something that lasts, and the Invest in America Act is a legacy that is going to last for generations. President Trump, thank you for your leadership. Your support is going to turn this powerful idea into powerful reality for millions of young Americans. And I was 9 years old when I came to this country. My family arrived in America having fled the Iranian Revolution. We had lost everything that we had built. But we gained something far more valuable here. We gained a chance to rebuild again. We had a close-knit family, we had access to world-class education, and we had the one thing that fuels every American dream, and that's hope. So what if we could bottle up that hope? What if we could give that same powerful, real, tangible hope that comes from having a stake in your own future and a stake in the best companies in the world to every single child that's born in this country? That's the promise of the Invest America Act. It's not just an account, it's a launch pad. It puts the unstoppable engine of compounding to work for our kids, building a future for them from day one. This mission is personal to me, and it's core to us at Uber. Every day we see people using our platform to create opportunities for themselves, to save for a home, to pay for tuition, to build their own American dream one trip at a time. And that's why Uber is so proud to support this bill, which also includes benefits for millions of Uber drivers and couriers in the form of no tax on tips. Mr. President, our earners are grateful for your support.
Thank you very much. Right? What a great job. You know, when you think we're doing a lot of work on Iran right now, and
Yes.
I see that what you just said, you came here and
Absolutely.
they took it all away from you, and you started and you become one of the biggest anywhere in the world. What a great story that is.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Congratulations.
And wish you all the success there.
Thank you very much. We'll need it. We're going to need it for that. That's it.
They're tough negotiators.
They're great negotiators.
Yes.
Among the best. Look at
Yes.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, dear. Jason, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to first start off by thanking you for your leadership, your vision, your commitment to workers and families throughout this country. The One Big Beautiful Bill would not have been possible without you. And it delivers the largest tax cut in U.S. history, the largest mandatory spending cuts in U.S. history, the most significant welfare reforms in U.S. history, and the largest one-time investment in border security. So it's things to be extremely proud about. Representing Southeast Missouri, I'm extremely proud about how you're delivering for working families. No tax on tips. A waitress like the waitress in Nevada that talked to you about no tax on tips, and the other 4 million tipped employees in the country, they will see an extra $1,700 in their paycheck because of the no tax on tips. That's significant for someone who's just trying to put food on their table and clothes on their backs. The linemen working overtime to restore power will get an additional $1,750 into their paycheck. Seniors will get $72 billion in tax cuts. The Trump investment accounts will be a game changer for new parents, even before their newborn baby can walk or talk. Their child will have money saved to one day learn a trade, start a business, or to buy a home. Every child every child born under this policy will have a better shot at a future. It does not matter if they live on a city block or on a county road. This will make a significant difference to their lives, and it's because of your leadership, Mr. President, and we say thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Jason, and hopefully we're gonna get that through, and we have a certain date picked out, an ideal date. If it takes a little longer, that's okay, but ideally, we're gonna get by a certain date. And again, I think it's one of the most important pieces of legislation we've ever had before us and that the country's ever had. I'd like to ask, if I might, Brad Gerstner, one of the most successful people in our country. I'm a friend of Michael very much, and Michael has great respect. And if you don't mind, Brad, I'd like to say a few words, please. Thank you.
Well, first, it's a great honor and privilege to be here. We wouldn't be here without your leadership. And for me personally, to be here with my son, Lincoln Gerstner, happens to be named after the gentleman over your right shoulder.
Where is Lincoln? He's good looking. He's much better looking than you. What happened?
Hey, we all want our kids to be better than ourselves. But it was around our small kitchen table that this idea was really born. I started off like Jason Smith in a small rural town in Indiana. My dad had lost everything in 1978 trying to start an auto parts company, and the Japanese were tearing apart our auto industry. We had double-digit interest rates and inflation. Our family mortgaged the house to keep the company going and ultimately lost everything. So I know a little something about starting with nothing. And I know what it felt like that first time you had a little skin in the game, where you thought you had a shot. You went from nothing to something. And like Dara said, that is the great story of America. The promise that there's mobility, the promise we can move up that ladder. But today, we've moved to a society of dependency, right? I saw somebody answer the White House's tweet on this today by saying the answer to socialism is more capitalism. This is more capitalism. This is aligning every child in America with the upside of free markets and the benefits. And that is your Main Street agenda, Mr. President. No tax on tips, that doesn't help rich folks. That helps the people who feel left out and left behind. No tax on overtime, no tax or deduction on Social Security, and the Trump accounts, right, that everybody in this room are here, we've been working so hard on, but would never come to fruition without your leadership. Those will change the game forever. It makes America an ownership society again, because all of those kids will see the benefit of compounding. If you start with $1,000 and $750 is added a year by parents, grandparents, by churches, by the companies in this room who will all contribute to the accounts of the kids of their employees, by the great philanthropists in America. I think $750 is a low estimate per year.
I think so.
But if you do that, by age 18, Mr. President, these are worth $50,000. By age 30, they're worth $175,000. And if you do it every year of your life, at age 50, they're worth $1 million. You are giving the shot for every American to feel like they're in the game again, part of America with that economic mobility, that dream that led Michael Dell to start Dell Computer in his dorm room, Dara to feel like the many in this room, but spearheaded by the speaker and Jason Smith, the big, beautiful bill. This is the vehicle to get the Invest America Act passed. So thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Brett. Great job. And nobody knew I was going to call you. He might have done the best job of the group. Got to think about that, Mike. Good recommendation, Michael. Does anybody have any questions? I think it's something that's really got to be talked about, because it's somewhat of a miracle that we're close to pulling it off. Please.
We put Independence Day as a self-imposed deadline, and we certainly hope, I believe, we can still meet that. It's up to the Senate. The bill's in the Senate's hands now, but I spoke with Leader Thune as recently as last night. He's feeling very optimistic. You see the Senate going through the same deliberations we went through in the House, except we had 14 months to do it. They've got a truncated time period to get that done. But as you all know, I've encouraged my dear friends and colleagues over there don't modify it too much, because we've got a very delicate balance that we reached, and it took us a long time to get there, and we don't want to upset that balance too much. So they're putting their fingerprints on it. I hope it'll be a light touch, and I'll send it back, and we'll get this thing done and get to the president's desk.
And really, we have tremendous spirit. I've never seen anything like it. There's just an unbelievable, we'll always have a couple of people. I don't want to use the word grandstanders. I never use such a word. But you always have that a little bit. But maybe you won't even have that. Who knows? There's tremendous spirit for this bill. I think like we haven't seen very much, Jason, right? I haven't seen too much. So I think it's going to go pretty quickly.
Prime Minister Netanyahu, you just mentioned Iran. Did you discuss Iran?
Very
Did you
well.
discuss
We discussed a lot of
the Gaza war?
Yeah, we discussed a lot of things and it went very well, very smooth. We'll see what happens. You know, we're trying to do something with a country we just spoke about, Iran. I think you should negotiate this. You might be better. I think I'm going to send you today. What a good idea. This could have been the idea of the day. We'll have Derek get up and negotiate. They are good negotiators, but they're tough. Sometimes they can be too tough. That's the problem. So we're trying to make a deal so that there's no destruction and death. And we've told them that, and I've told them that, and I hope that's the way it works out, but it might not work out that way. We'll soon find out. Yeah, please.
When you were talking about unrest in American cities, you said, quote, "We have to go by the laws. We can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor." What changed now? Why is this situation different to not consult with Governor Newsom about this?
Well, the biggest change from that statement is we have an incompetent governor. So I talked about governors, but I didn't talk about, he's an incompetent governor. Look at the job he's doing in California. He's destroying one of our great states. And if I didn't get involved, if we didn't bring the Guard in, and we would bring more in if we needed it, because we have to make sure there's going to be law and order.
That's right.
You had a disaster happening. And they now admit it was a disaster. I watched the chief yesterday, who's a good man, by the way, and he said, "Wow, we're lucky we did this because they were overwhelmed. You saw what was happening." So we did the right thing. Everybody agrees to that. But you have a governor who let the city burn down, didn't want water to be sent down to him. And I said billions of gallons of water. I said I wanted to do it in the first term. He wouldn't do it over. I don't know, they have environmental reasons, but there were no environmental reasons. It's, I think it's just a political philosophy. But it's lucky for the people in Los Angeles and in California that we did what we did. We got it just in time. It's still simmering a little bit, but not very much. Yeah, please.
Have you gotten...
A crime has he committed? I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And that's pretty bad. It's a wrong philosophy. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners. They're taking up your health care. They're taking up your space in schools. They're taking up your hospitals.
That's right. Tell them.
And in many cases, they're criminals. And we have to do something about it, and we're doing something about it. I want to thank the incredible patriots of ICE and Tom Holman, who's been incredible, and Kristi Noem, likewise incredible. The job they're doing, and it's like an unforced error. There was no reason for this. 21 million people were allowed into our country, and many of those people were criminals. And it's a shame. It's a shame, but we're getting them out, and I will say I think it's a 95-5 issue, just like so many other issues, 95-5. And the Democrats lost an election in a landslide because they're on the wrong side of the issues. I mean, it's not even conceivable that somebody would do the kind of things that he did. And then, you talk about projects. They want to build a train going from San Francisco to LA, and it's costing hundreds of billions of dollars more than they thought it was going to cost. It's not even believable. To Brad and to people sitting here, would you believe that a train, it was going to cost X dollars and it might be 100 times X?
Would have paid for this for about 50 million American children.
You're right.
50 million American children instead of a 3-mile train track that never got built.
We could have put Lincoln in charge with no experience. He would have done a good job. I guarantee you that. All right, please, Peter.
Mr. President, have you gotten an update from your negotiating? President Trump. So it seems like Gavin Newsom likes the attention that he's getting right now from
I do,
you.
yeah.
It seems like he does. If you look at recent history, somebody who was running for president, you, who got arrested and had a mugshot, you could make the argument that politically that wound up helping you. Are you worried at all at this moment that talking about him getting
He's
arrested
not the
could be
same.
helpful to his political prospects? Because a lot of people think he wants to be sitting right where you are.
Well, in my case, it was a witch hunt and everybody knew it. And I was able to explain that during the process. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And it was a total witch hunt. It's proven to be a witch hunt, and you see what's happened. In his case, it really is very obvious. You look at what's happened between the fires, I could name 10 things right now. We talk about the trains. We talk about all of the costs in California. You talk about all of the people that are flowing and destroying life for everyone else. So no, I don't think it's going to help him. I think it's actually very bad for him.
And right around the time that we were walking in here, the governor and the state attorney general said that they're going to sue you for sending the National Guard, and they're saying there's no invasion, there's no rebellion. The president is trying to manufacture chaos and crisis on the ground for his own political ends. Federalizing the California National Guard is an abuse of the president's authority under law.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You watched the same clips as I did. Cars burning all over the place, people riding. And by the way, we stopped it. We were able to make it much better, but it still looked pretty bad. And in watching clips last night, people were saying this is really a big problem. And until we went in, if we didn't do the job, that place would be burning down just like the houses burned down. They were in big trouble last night, Peter, you know, and the night before that. And I feel we had no choice. I don't want to see happen what happened so many times in this country. I watched Minneapolis burn. Look at what happened in so many different parts of California. You take a look at what happened in San Diego. There's so many different places where we let it burn. We want to be politically correct. We wanted to be nice. We want to be nice to the criminal. And what you're doing is destroying the fabric of our life in this country. No, we did the right thing. We've been given credit by people that I would least suspect. Why I would say that some of the people that came in and said, thank goodness, they said, some of them, thank God that Trump got involved. And I'm very happy I got involved. And I think Gavin, in his own way, is probably happy I got involved. Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
What do you make of the fact that he says, you want a civil war on the streets of America?
No, it's just the opposite. I don't want a civil war. A civil war would happen if you left it to people like him. And I like him. You know, I always got along with him. Never had a problem with him. But he's grossly incompetent. Okay.
This is how the left tries
Have you
to
gotten an update from your team in London negotiating?
flip it.
Louder.
Have you gotten an update from your team in London negotiating the China trade talks?
We are doing well with China. China's not easy, just like your home country is not easy there. I think we're doing very well. They're over there now. I'm only getting good reports. It's a little early, but they'll be calling in soon. In fact, probably when I get back, I'll have my first call from them. We want to open up China. And if we don't open up China, maybe we won't do anything, but we want to open up China. It'll be a great thing for China, a great thing for the rest of the world.
Are you willing to lift export controls when it comes to China? Did you give your negotiators any sort of limitations?
We're going to see. Look, China has been ripping off the United States for many years. Nobody charged them 10 cents. No president had the courage to charge China for whatever reason. They didn't want to do it. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars. I put on tariffs on China when I got in first term. And we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. And then I did it again, but I did it for a lot of others. If you look at the stats, the deficit last month was cut in half. Everybody was shocked. I wasn't shocked. I think a lot of the people at this table weren't, because they saw the billions of dollars that were pouring in, and the tariffs hadn't even started yet, just about. There weren't cars. They were in some countries at a very minor level. And we cut the deficit in half. And it was a big story a couple of days ago. They said, I don't believe, one of the announcers on a business network went wild, said, I can't believe these numbers. Those numbers are good. The numbers are going to be very good. I think we're going to have a great 4 years. You know, we had the greatest economy in history during my 4 years. I think this one's going to blow it away. Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you have a message for Greta Thunberg, and did she come up on your call with the Prime Minister today?
Well, she's a strange person. She's a young, angry person. I don't know if it's real anger. It's hard to believe, actually. But I saw what happened. She's certainly different. Anger management. I think she has to go to an anger management class. That's my primary recommendation for her.
Kidnapped by Israel, as she says? Was she kidnapped?
I find it. I think Israel has enough problems without kidnapping Greta Thunberg.
And secondly, are you going to
Is that what she said? She was kidnapped by Israel?
Yes, sir. Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink service that you have here at the White House?
No, I haven't heard that. I mean, I may move the Tesla around a little bit, but I don't think we'll be doing that with Starlink. It's a good service.
Where are you going to move it to? Move it around, what do you mean?
I have a lot of locations. I got so many locations, I don't know what to do with them all.
Did you ever see Elon Musk get physical with the Treasury Secretary?
No, I didn't.
And I tried to
And I
ask.
did have an argument, but I didn't see a lot of physicality there.
And there was this New York Times report that he did not want to talk about, Elon Musk, that alleged that he, towards the end of his time in the White House, was blurring the lines between recreational use of drugs and medicinal. Do you think he ever had drugs here at the White House?
I really don't know. I don't think so. I hope not. Look, I wish him well. You understand. We had a good relationship, and I just wish him well. Very well, actually. Yeah.
About aid in Gaza, you mentioned now the flotilla. Do you have a response at all about Israel intercepting this boat? And can you give us an update on what's happening to the entry of aid into Gaza right now? We've had people being shot by Israeli forces who are trying to get aid from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Yes.
Gaza right now is in the midst of a massive negotiation between us and Hamas and Israel, and Iran actually is involved. And we'll see what's going to happen with Gaza. We want to get the hostages back. That's all I can tell you. Yeah, please, in the back.
You said yesterday when I reported that it was not insurrection taking place, but then on True Social a bit later, you said they were insurrectionists. After what you said.
You're talking about in LA?
Yes, sir, in LA.
I wouldn't call it quite an insurrection, but it could have led to an insurrection. I mean, that was a lot of harm that was going on last night. I watched it very closely. And it was amazing that the job that the National Guard did. And by the way, the police were working very hard also. But, you know, the police are given instructions to be politically correct. I said, no, you don't have to be politically correct. You have to do the job.
On Elon Musk, do you plan to speak to him on the phone anytime soon? I know some.
Which one?
On Elon Musk, do you plan to speak to him on the phone anytime soon?
I haven't really thought about it, actually. I would imagine he wants to speak to me. I would think that. If I were him, I'd want to speak to me. And maybe he was already called. You'd have to ask him whether or not he's already called. But I'd have no problem with it. Well, I don't want to say that, but I would imagine he'd want to talk to me.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please.
We're supposed to get a counter proposal from Iran today. Have you gotten that proposal? And what is the main impediment?
We have a meeting with Iran on Thursday, so we're going to wait till Thursday.
And what's the main impediment to getting a deal?
Well, they're just asking for things that you can't do. They don't want to give up what they have to give up. You know what that is. They seek enrichment. We can't have enrichment. We want just the opposite. And so far, they're not there. I hate to say that, because the alternative is a very, very dire one. But they're not there. They have given us their thoughts on the deal, and I said, it's just not acceptable. I would say, yeah. I don't know what else. I can talk about the weather.
Well, you can talk about the weather.
Pretty much, that's the main topic, yeah.
Mr. President.
We talked about Lebanon also, yeah, we did. Well, Lebanon's working very hard. They have a great new ambassador that I put there. Man, I know very well. He's very smart. I didn't even know he was Lebanese. And I said, why would you want Lebanon? He said, I was born there. I love it. I love the people. I said, it's very dangerous going to Lebanon. There are some ambassadorships that are wonderful. There are some that are dangerous. I said, Michel, his name is. It's a he, Michel, very elegant man. And I said, why would you want this? And he said, because I love my country and I love those people. I said, it's very dangerous. He goes, I don't care. This is not a man that lived on danger. He's a very successful man from here. And he wanted to be the ambassador despite probably a very dangerous situation he's going into. You see what's going on. But I had great respect for that. He loves that country. He loves it. He was born there. He loves the country. Yeah.
Mr. President, you've got a big, beautiful parade coming up on Saturday.
We do.
What's your biggest expectations for that? And I've got a second question in regards to Gavin Newsom. But go ahead and talk about the big, beautiful parade.
It's such a, thank you, Brian. It's such a, I think, important moment for this country. 2 weeks ago, I was calling people and back and forth with leaders, including President Putin, including French president, including lots of different people. And all of them said, we're celebrating victory in World War II. And I said, wow, isn't that amazing? We're the only one that wasn't celebrating, and we're the one that won the war. Now, Russia did help. They did lose 51 million people in all fairness. People say, oh, he's sticking up for Russia. No, they lost 51 million people. And, can't forget that. But France was celebrating. And as you know, Hitler made a speech at the Eiffel Tower. But when I spoke to President Macron, he said, oh, we are celebrating the great victory of World War II. And I think that's great that he was doing it. But we're the one that won it, and we weren't celebrating. I said to myself, isn't that crazy? And I think it's time for us to celebrate a little bit. We've had a lot of victories. We won 2 world wars, and then we go out and change the name of the forts where we won the wars. You go out, we win world wars from Fort Robert E. Lee, from Fort Bragg, from all the different forts. And what do? We change the name of the forts because we want to be politically correct. So a lot of them were changing back. You probably noticed Fort Bragg and others. But I think it's a time to celebrate our military. We've rebuilt our military largely. Little low on ammunition. That's because it goes out very fast to other countries, one in particular. Right. But we'll get that back very quickly. But we have a military the likes of which nobody has. Nobody comes close. We have the best equipment in the world. We make the best equipment in the world. There's no military like our military. We showed that with ISIS. I was told by the television generals it would take 4 years to win, and we did it in 3 weeks. And it was headed by General Raisin Kane, who's now the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He's great. Just left him. No, I think it's time that we celebrate. And I sort of have to laugh at these people. Well, you're going to spend a lot of money. A lot of that money is being paid for by me and people that make donations. I don't know if you know that. A lot of it won't even come out of the military. I think I can say that, Susie, right? We have people putting up money to do it. Not that it's necessary, because I think it's a great expenditure. We have many tanks. We have all sorts of new ones and very old ones, old from World War I and World War II. It's really a celebration of the Army. So the Army is a year older than the country. So next year we celebrate 250 years, but we're celebrating the Army on Flag Day. And it's not my birthday. It is my birthday, but I'm not celebrating my birthday. I'm celebrating Flag Day. It happens to be the same day, so I take a little heat. But Flag Day is the appropriate date. And we're celebrating 250 years of the Army, a great service. And remember, think of it, we won so much. We won World War I, World War II, so much else. And then we became politically correct. But I can only tell you that I was told that ISIS would take anywhere from 4 to 5 years. And we did it in 3 weeks. You were there, you watched, right? We have the greatest military in the world. Nobody can beat us. As long as we have our right leadership, nobody can beat us. If we have stupid people running it, like you had in Afghanistan, when you look at that, first of all, Afghanistan should have been an easy victory as a war, but we were so sad the way we fought it, so ridiculous. We fight not to win. But we didn't used to be that way. And we're celebrating, because I think the day in Afghanistan was the saddest period of time in the history of our country. That was a Biden mess with bad generals like Milley and others. They were bad, they were incompetent generals. I know all the good ones and the bad ones. We got rid of most of the bad ones. But it was time to celebrate, and that's what we're doing. So it's on June 14th, and it's going to be a parade the likes of which I don't know if we've ever had a parade like that. It's going to be incredible. We have even though it's the Army, we have a lot of those Army airplanes flying over the top, and we have tanks all over the place, and we have thousands and thousands of soldiers going to bravely march down the streets. It's going to be a beautiful day, I think, and we're going to celebrate our country.
You spoke of leadership, and real quickly, speaking of Gavin Newsom, is he the right leader for California, considering how massive their economy is and all this U.S. investments coming in? Is he the right governor and leader for the future of California and for
I don't
U.S.
think
investments?
he is. I mean, I think he's done a terrible job. And, you know, as a guy, I always got along with him. You look at his past statements about me. I was a great president. I always took care of California, you know, all that. But I'm just talking on results. You look, you know, here's the advantage of beautiful weather, maybe the best weather of any state when you think about it. Beautiful weather, beautiful ocean, beautiful everything. You have all the advantages, and he didn't take advantage of that. And he's let people come in by the millions who are overrunning your hospitals, your education system, and your police. Your police are being overrun. Look at what's happened. He should only be happy I sent in the military, because if I didn't send him in, you would have had a problem there, the likes of which we haven't seen in a long time. Yeah, please. Thank you, Brian, very much.
On supersonic flight.
Supersonic?
Yes, sir. I know you just signed an executive order on it. Do you want to see a supersonic Air Force One in the next 10 years or so?
Oh, well, I don't care too much about that, but I would like to see, you know, if you think about it, flight, the word flight's an interesting word, but it's probably the only category where we've actually gone backwards, because we used to have the Concorde, and we could fly to London, Brad, very quickly and nicely. And today it takes you 2 times and 3 times as long. It's the only thing where we've regressed. By the way, the Concorde, to my way of thinking, to this day, Michael, because you're very much into aesthetics, I know, but to this day was one of the most beautiful pieces of art I've ever seen. It was a piece of art, the beauty of the Concorde. It was the most beautiful plane, but it was you know, got you there in half the time. Now you spend a lot of time, and there's no reason for it. Because, you know, they have the sonic boom. It's not a huge problem, but they have the sonic boom thing pretty well figured out. The technology changes, the change in the skin, the change in weight, all of the other things. There's no reason why we shouldn't do great. So we are making it possible for them to do supersonic and get us back on the track. I mean, think of it, 30 years ago, we actually had planes that flew much faster than we do now. It took you half the time to get to a location. So we've regressed, and we're going to progress. Right. Sort of an amazing thing, isn't it? We've gone backwards. On Wall Street, they haven't done that. If Goldman Sachs was like that, you wouldn't have Goldman Sachs anymore. Yeah, please.
Are you going to deploy Marines in California?
We'll see what happens. I mean, I think we have it very well under control. I think it would have been a very bad situation. It was heading in the wrong direction. It's now heading in the right direction. And we hope to have the support of Gavin, because Gavin's the big beneficiary as we straighten out his problems. I mean, his state is a mess. And I'd like to get somebody involved in the rail, because, look, personally, it should have never been built, because you can fly there for $2, and what are you doing? They're doing that. You could drive, you could do lots of different things. You know, if they did a study, if you gave every passenger the finest limousine service in the history of our world, the most expensive chauffeur-driven, white-glove limousine service back and forth, we would have saved billions of dollars as opposed to building this monstrosity that's going on. And I've never seen anything. You know, I've seen cost overruns. I'm a person, I've always done well on cost overruns. I don't have them. But I will tell you, I've never seen cost overruns. You see them where they're 20% more, 50%, 100% more. These are thousands of percent. Nobody even knows. They have no idea. And it was supposed to be from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Well, they just made it way outside of Los Angeles, where it's stopping in the middle of I don't want to say nowhere because I happen to like one of those little cities very much, but it's way short of the destination. And our government is saying, you know, why are we involved in this thing? It's been handled so badly before him, but he really blew it. So, you know, all right, one more question.
Speak to any discussions that were had there and the purpose of that retreat, your time at Camp David.
On the what?
Your time at Camp David, can you speak to what discussions were had there and the purpose of that retreat?
Well, I don't want to speak to discussions. I mean, I told you what we were there for a little bit. We had discussions on many topics. We had a group of people, a large group of people, including generals and admirals and lots of others. And all I can say is our country's in great shape. We're in great shape economically. The bill that Mike and Jason and all the people are working on is going to be, I think, amazing. I think it's going to be one of the most important pieces of legislation we've ever had in this country. It's going to do things that you wouldn't believe. We're going to, you know, I have a very simple phrase. We ran an election on very simple words: make America great again. That's what we're doing. We're making it great. We're making it safe. We're making it beautiful. And we're making it very wealthy again. You know, wealth is okay. You need wealth to take care of lots of other people. We have to make our country better. It has to heal from 4 years of abuse. Our country was abused badly by a very incompetent person and a group of people that weren't incompetent, but they were radical left lunatics. And they ran the country with an auto pen. And I hope that law enforcement's looking at that very seriously. That's like a takeover of our country in a certain way, because this guy had no idea what he was doing. You saw that during the debate. You saw that in other cases. I mean, he had no idea. I saw it years ago. By the way, 40 years ago, he had no. He was bad 40 years ago. We're not just talking about. And they always like to say age, but it's not age. I know people 88, 89, 92. Bernie Marcus, who just passed away, was 95. I spoke to him a year before. He was 100%. It's not age, it's something else. But whatever it is, you can't have that in this country. The damage he's done to this country is unbelievable. But the good news is we've got much of it fixed already, and the rest of it will happen. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Wow. Trump said a lot. That meeting was so refreshing. And one thing I respect about the president, you got to give him his flowers, is that he takes questions. They're not pre-selected. He's not using a teleprompter, and there's no script. He talks right off the top. And we need a leader that can actually articulate everything that we need to know, to not only to the reporters, but to the American people. We haven't had that in years. I don't think anyone has been as, like they say, Trump is a liar. I haven't seen the other liars be as honest as he has been, or are attempting to move the country forward like President Trump. I mean, this is like night and day. It's night and day. I mean, he's planning for the future of your children and your children's children. I mean, he's investing in them. And this is amazing. I haven't seen any other president or the left thinking about tomorrow, what they're going to do for the American people. He's thinking about your children's children, putting money aside, the government, for them, so that they can have their college tuitions paid for, so they can buy houses. This is incredible. And then no tax on tips, no tax on I don't know, here's a whole lot of things that no tax on, and on overtime. It just goes on and on. And when did President Biden say this? When did Obama? When did President Clinton? Just the last few presidencies, the Bushes were in office. When have you heard any other president, especially, it's only been a few months, 4 months? He's done more in 4 months than all of those former presidents in recent history put together. The only thing that the previous presidents have done was sink this country into the ground, especially the last administration. I mean, their damage that they have done, that's what's going on in Los Angeles, that's what's going on in New York, that's what's going on in Chicago, that's what's going on in Colorado. And the list goes on. And then, to make matters worse, is black people, they put a lot of problems in our neighborhoods. And it's our tax dollars that are supporting them along with other Americans. I like someone that's a leader. That's what a leader looks like. When they always talk about this is what democracy looks like, I'm the person that have all the chance. I'm the person that's out there leading thousands of people and they're repeating after me. This is what it looks like to have a real leader. This is what it looks like to have someone that's in charge, someone that we're moving in the right direction. You can't ask for anything more than that. No one is perfect. None of us are perfect. Nothing is perfect. But at least we have someone that cares enough about this country that he's thinking about your children's future. Right now, while Gavin Newsom, he the type of freaking governor, and guess what? He wants to run for president in 2028. Do you want a president that will allow your country to burn down? Do you want a president that won't take any action, that's allowing wildfires to go on, and you don't have sense enough to have all those millions of gallons of water that can just run down into your reservoir, that the firemen would actually have water to put out a fire? Could you imagine how the firemen, how they felt? They're standing there next to homeowners watching their houses burn down, and they couldn't do anything about it. There was no water. Only thing they could do was stand beside the homeowner that lost everything and watch their property burn down. And that governor, I don't even know if they're doing anything to build it back, because it might be too soon, because it's going to take, what did they say, 50 billion? You guys might know. How many billions is it going to take? And Trump had to step in, and he actually had to put an order in for the water to run down so that in the future that the water would be there. And these people, instead of the governor, I'm a leader. If I was the governor, I would have taken action, because y'all not going to do this on my watch. That's not America. First of all, y'all are really unwelcome guests into our country, and then y'all want to override our government. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. This is not Biden's administration any longer. Everything you got away under Biden's watch, those days are over with. It's over with. So you want to be emboldened, and what they're going to start doing, they're going to lift it that everybody that's out in those streets, they can arrest all of y'all. And they can deport all of you back to your countries. Because when America starts speaking up about all this, and we start putting our foot down, there's nothing that the Democrats are going to be able to do about it. Because when American people, when we speak, they're going to have to listen, or they will not have those positions that they currently are sitting in. All those senators and all those congressmen and the Hakeem Jeffries and the Schumers and the Nancy Pelosi's and the AOC and Jasmine Crockett, they don't even have a leader. Let's just start with that. Nor any plans. You saw what we just witnessed. You don't know how many meetings Trump has had with positive things, with investors, and with just what he's doing for this country. Even the big, beautiful bill, just letting us know some of the positive things that's in that bill that will help grow this country. And that's why when people say, oh, he's racist, he's this and that, he can't build back this country without all of us doing well. All of us have to participate. He has to make sure that white people, black people, Latinos, Indian, Asians, all Americans are involved in building this country back and getting us out of debt. Out of debt. That's why he's making sure that he's giving all kinds of money and all kinds of ideas he has for HBCUs and all types of things that he is doing and planning for the black community, because when we do well, everyone does well. You know, we have the second highest spending capital in the country. There's money in our community. We keep everything going. And we need to work together, one nation under God, because we can't keep building, adding on to the debt and not reducing the debt. And $36 trillion, you have to have someone like Trump that to get us back on our feet, or we're going to crash and burn. That's what's going to happen. We're going to crash and burn. There's no getting around it. Somebody has had to do it. And I'm glad that it's Trump. And I support what he's doing. I have nothing that I can support on the left. You know why? Because they offer nothing. Only thing they offer is hate and anger and pointing a finger. And that gives them an escape to do nothing. Nothing. Even with what's going on in Los Angeles, they have the audacity to be blaming him for sitting in truce while these people are tearing down the city. While they're beating up cops, beating up their vehicles, while they're destroying property, while they're vandalizing, while they're doing, they're not even Americans. They've been here a hot minute and they feel like they have more rights than we do. And like I said, my perspective, when we had the Black Lives Matter, when they said, oh, what happened in Tampon Tim State, that's because that was 400 years. We are Americans, though. That was 400 years of suppression, 400 years of injustices, 400 years that Black people felt like that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Everyone has a breaking point. That was a human reaction of just being disgusted, of feeling that the same judiciary system and the same justices don't work for us. That, like, it doesn't work for us. And that's what that was, an exhale. It wasn't right. And the wrong people, it was a great idea, but the wrong people, greed always creep into good things that should have turned out great. It should have turned out great because it wasn't never about that Black lives meant more, and everybody knows that, than other lives. What people were saying is that when you take a Black person's life, they act like it doesn't matter. That, everyone was being brutalized, shot down, whatever. It's for, like George Floyd. He went into a store and the owner called the cops about what he assumed. How many people look at a $20 bill, assume it's a $20 bill, that they allege, but it was never proven. He lost his life over. He never committed a crime. You have Castile in the car, Philando Castile. He's getting his ID, his baby in the car, his girl, he's been shot to death. You got Tamir Rice playing in a park. You got Trayvon Martin walking down the street, and he just went to get a bag of Skittles, and he had to fight for his life, and they told him to stand down, and he got away with it. Everybody gets away with it, and that's what they're saying. Our lives mean something to us, to our families. These weren't criminals. So we just want the judiciary system not to be over-sentenced Black people like Biden did with the 1994 crime bill. Black people should never have voted for him to become president. He caused mass incarceration. But here we are, boots to the pole. We here, souls to the pole. I think that's what they call it. Oh, we're there. We're going to put him in office because he said, you ain't Black unless you vote for me. He was the last person that should have been voted into office because he knew when you take the father out of the household, then there's no example for the children. Then the children are given to the streets, and then they're taught the wrong things. Nobody has superior brains. It's all about education. God gave us all, when God gave us all the same brain, the same organs, the same everything. We're humans. Because the pigment is different, that's a beautiful thing. Because it would be boring if we all looked the same. We all offer different things to society, and that's wonderful. Everyone loves our swag, the way we dress, our music, the way we talk, our food, all of it. You have so many countries mimicking Black American culture. They always extract from us. They want to even wear their hair in cornrows or dreadlocks. It's crazy. But we offer a lot to one another. That's why it's important for all of us to do well. And Trump is aware of that. That's what you call a leader. There are racist people in both parties. You got racist Republicans because they're not MAGA. They're not like Trump. You know, they think that they're smarter, brighter, but they're not. They're not. They're not. You know, they're not. It's different opportunities in different communities. And education is the key. That is extremely important, to be educated, you know, and have those advantages. But we all can learn, because it's been so many things that Black people, Black Americans have contributed to this country, from inventions to you name it. We've done it all culturally, have given so much to this country because it's our country as well. So I support Trump. And that's why I started this channel, Speak the Truth 2.0, because I knew as a former Democrat, everything that they did, they was going to blame him. They're even doing it today while they sit, and they're allowed to sit, and none of the people on the left and none of the Democrats will call out their lack of action from Governor Newsom, who wants to become president one day of the United States of America. He is already showing he's unfit and unqualified. He can't even manage his state of California. So he certainly cannot be a leader of the free world. And neither could Biden. He was never qualified, neither was Kamala. But I was so unaware of that. But now I see them for what they are. Even his press secretary now is talking about she's an independent. 4 months later, Karine Jean-Pierre, she's an independent now. She knew she had to go and lie to the American people on a daily basis. There you go, Elijah. I'm not against state rights. I'm against a fool in office. I'm against someone that's watching all of this stuff goes down in LA, and this man didn't do anything about it. Yeah. He supported cops being attacked. He supported the vandalism. He supported Governor Newsom. Okay. He's the governor. He allowed, and then they talk about they didn't want the National Guards when it was lawlessness going on. They had no control over that city.
Hey, Kay.
Oh, they just got on. Yeah, Eric, I made you a moderator.
I need my Trump hat on, so I asked him, do we support Trump?
Yeah, get your, oh yeah, wait a minute. Do we support Trump? Don't worry. My next live, I'll have on my shirt. Can you see it? Trump, Trump, Trump. Yeah, that's my shirt. Yeah, we support him. Most definitely. Trump, Trump, Trump. If you've seen like one of my videos, I think it was one of my viral videos. It was like 1,200,000. And I said I supported Biden. And I campaigned, I canvassed, but this time, Trump, Trump, Trump. Ain't no way I would have voted for Kamala or Tampon Tim. They were so unfit, it wasn't even funny. No, that was it for me. That was it for me. You could see that from a mile away. She couldn't even speak. She couldn't even speak. How are you going to be a world leader and you can't even talk? Can you imagine if they had been voted in, what this country would look like right now? What would Zelensky would have drained us. We don't even have money to support the war any longer. He would have drained us out of all our resources. We don't have any more money to get to supply to the war in Ukraine. Look what we have to do here. Look at all the things that's going on here that we don't have the money for our own country at this point. So, Speaking facts, and I love it. Thank God for Trump. Thank God for Trump. Ain't no way. We didn't spend no $40 million. You people exaggerate. Where were you during President Biden, who was just president 4 months ago? He spent 40% of his presidency, not no weekend. They off the weekends. He spent 40% of his presidency on vacation. And when he wasn't, he was checked out anyway. They said he ended his day at like 4 o'clock. Where were you then? I'm like, where were all these people then? with the open borders and where everything was the inflation, the economy. Where were y'all at? So don't even come here with that, because that's just like maybe you were living in bubble land somewhere. Because I don't understand, where were people at? And as soon as this man, every time I see Trump, he's working day and night. He's always on the move. He even takes questions on Air Force One. He don't even fly without answering to the American people. He comes off the runway. He's giving questions, answering questions, allowing the reporters. He's allowing you in the cabinet meetings. When have you seen a president allow the American people and the world to witness a cabinet meeting? That's what it looks like. Because I sit on a board, like not that level, but that's a cabinet meeting. Everyone is not welcome in there. He exposed and he is transparent. He doesn't talk with a teleprompter. He doesn't use a script. He doesn't have pre-selected reporters to ask him questions, and he knows the questions. He takes questions from all those thirsty reporters. But where were they at during Biden's administration when they asked them nothing? Nothing. They did a disservice to the American people. And they covered for them. They covered Biden's, how he's been unfit. They covered Kamala, a cover up. All of it was a cover up, is what I'm trying to say. When it came to the people on the left, and all they do is gaslight us. When was the last time you heard anything that the Democrats did for the American people? They're trying to act like our concerns is what's happening in Ukraine, but that's what's happening here. They act like our concerns is like we are more concerned about the illegal immigrants than we are about the welfare of our country and our children. They're missing the mark. My concern is our future and my children's future and my children's children's future. Trump has a plan for $1,000 to be put into these kids' account to invest in their futures. When have you heard that? Y'all got to give this man some kind of credit. And if you won't, thank you, Trump. Trump. Thank you. Thank you so much from going through what you went through for us, even though there's a percentage of Americans that don't appreciate it because they have been so brainwashed and so gaslighted, like I once was, by mainstream media. So gaslighted, and we believe everything that they were saying. But I'm giving him his credit because it's due. And I've always been like that. I respect people that are movers and shakers. I respect real leadership.
Like I said, that you're breaking your commitments to Ukraine, Canada, and Mexico.
My commitment is to USA. I live here. My commitment, Ukrainians, they committed to their country. Mexico committed to their country. You see in LA, they fly Mexico flag. They can go back to Mexico. And stop burning our American flag. Stop spitting on our American flag. Respect our country and respect our vets that fought for our country. This is wrong on so many levels. And most Americans are not down for all that. We don't like it. And maybe y'all can't hear us, but we had spoken loud and clearly with that last election when we voted the Democrats out of office. And if they continue to not put us first, the rest of them we're going to vote out.
Yeah, vote
Okay, Hakeem Jeffries and all y'all. We're going to vote y'all out. And I'm going to do all I can for 2028. If they don't get men out of women's sports, that same-sex marriages, transgenders, mutilating children, bodies, and and make
Laura,
abortion as their campaign,
Laura,
I'm done.
Laura, if you love America, then why don't you agree with us?
Say it loudly. That's right.
Because like we say, we're America first. We're Americans. We're trying to do America first, Riley.
We have our own problems.
Where you going, Mom?
I'm going to put this on. Read the comment.
I'm reading them. They're not really saying anything. Yeah, I love Proud American. I like this woman. Me too.
We're proud to be Americans. We're proud of our president. We're proud that someone has come in. Like anybody that's have any relationship, you should love a freaking man's man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Hey, big man." Oh, he deleted his comment out, but I can still read it. He said, "Hey, big man, you gonna do the manual labor?" I don't think so. Talk about the.
You know what? Y'all need to stop listening to mainstream media. Y'all really do. You're going to tell me there's 14 to 20 million homeless people that's helping us when we have to take care of all of them? Really? Do you think that all those people are the ones that's doing the loop on the farms? You know they got robots and stuff now. They got machinery for just about everything now. And weren't we doing this 3 years prior to them coming into our country? And we were doing better? Do you know that we were doing better the last prior to this administration when Trump was in office? We were doing better and they weren't here. Are y'all aware of that? So what are you talking about? The farmers or whatever, they're going to have to pay what it costs or whatever to get the help. But they like what's going on with the tariffs because a lot of them are doing a lot better financially. The things that Trump is doing, that what he's doing. But just a few years ago, they weren't here. But now they're here. We got a burden, Houston. You know how much money is costing us to take care of all those people in a span of 3 years, 4 years? The cost? And we're broke? And you talking about the crops, whatever that they might need them to pick. Who do we have the resources to feed all these people? You know how much more resources we need to educate, to feed, healthcare, all educate, everything that it takes.
Hey, come back, Brandon. I'll look it up right now.
See, people don't want to hear the truth. It's not helping us. We were doing it before them, and we'll do it after them. And we were doing better before. How did that happen? Answer that. How did that happen? See, they don't want to deal with reality. They haven't been here all along. They just got here. What, 3 years ago? 4 years ago? We were already doing that before they were here. We was already getting it done. And our economy was, black employment was way up. Economy was up. Everything was up. No wars. And they got into office. Now, all of a sudden, they didn't bring them in here. Okay, let me tell you some breaking news. They didn't bring them in here for farms. We don't need them for that. You didn't know that, did you? Because all of a sudden, we needed them now. 14 million, between 14 to 20 million people. You imagine the resources it takes for them to be here? They're not adding back that money. We're in debt because of them. We accumulated more debt. So how are we doing better prior? And just to let you know, Democrats did not bring illegal immigrants into this country to do manual labor. They brought them in here for votes. They got you brainwashed. Y'all, first thing they said, well, who's going to pick the crops? Who's going to do that and that? It was being done before them, right? Am I right or wrong? Y'all just think all of a sudden, we needed these jobs done? All of a sudden? Wasn't it being done? When Trump was in his previous term, wasn't it being done? When Obama was in his term, wasn't it being done? When Bush was in his term? So what are you talking about? They're all something. You think really that we need a 14 million people, homeless people, jobless people? And now they on our Medicaid, Medicare, our Social Security. They're in our educational system. They were giving them free housing, luxury apartments, phones, laptops, SNAP cards. They're getting thousands and thousands of dollars per month off of taxpayer dollars. They're getting stuff that American citizens can't get because you're not a priority to the Democrats. They did all that for votes, not for them to come. And that's what they try to tell us. Oh, they're here because we needed them. It was being done prior to that. Did y'all realize that? How much of gaslighting is being done?
You've been fooled. I don't understand why people still can't see the game the Democrats are playing.
It's a game. It's been being done. They like, do you see false? You keep believing the lie. They were not brought in here for crop picking. They were brought in here to the United States for votes. This is all about power. It's all about, it was to retain power. The reason why they're still pushing to legalize them, that they would even bring back, they fought so hard for Kilmar Garcia because they didn't want him to be the poster child, but they feel like if you get one illegal out, then Trump administration better get the rest of them, deport all of them. But they were not brought in here for that. They were brought into our country for votes. That's why they gave them all this sanctuary city protection. They could do whatever they want to in these sanctuary cities. They don't even have to follow our laws. They do crimes that we would be in jail for decades, and they're letting them out. They didn't add to us. They extracted from us. They're not here from that. It ain't that many farms in the United States, okay, that would need that type of help from 20 million people. No, they're not brought here from that. Stop being gaslighted and just use common sense. Just realize, wasn't it being done? Crops and all that being done and the labor on farms prior to Biden's administration. All this time, for the last 60 years. That's why you know it's a lie. They were not brought in here for that. So you don't have to say that any longer. Because that's the talking points. Because there are no talking points for Democrats. All you got to do is use common sense. I already know because I always been a Democrat. There's no talking points for Democrats. You have nothing to stand on. Even the lies don't make sense. All of a sudden, you think we need 14 million. We don't have 14 million farms. How many farms are in the United States of America? They're already being taken care of. They always have been. How's that helping us? That's not saving us money when we got to house, feed, clothe all these homeless people. That doesn't help us. That's hurting us. It got done before them, and they'll get done after them. It will be done. This is America. So all it's all about votes. Votes, votes, votes. And they're still pushing forward. Even though they lost the election, they have not changed the agenda. The agenda is to legalize these illegal immigrants. They don't care if they're convicted murderers, convicted rapists. They don't care if it's a 350 terrorists. Yeah. They don't care if it's a 2 million gotaways.
Like I said yesterday, it's like people have been saying that, oh, Donald Trump has the agenda 47, but they haven't been realizing that the Democrats have had the agenda the whole time.
They had the agenda. The Democrats had the agenda. They gaslighted us to focus so much on Trump and to believe the lies of mainstream media while they are doing nothing. Let them do a news conference. It's going to be about Trump, not about the American people. Did they do a news conference about the future of our children? Do they do news conferences about producing more jobs? Do they do news conferences about lowering inflation or the helping and building the economy? Do they do any news conferences about the betterment of American people? Do they ever focus on the American people? They listen to them. They don't talk about American people. They got you focused on legal immigrants for the last few years, not about Americans. So the gaslighting has ended. Anybody that still want to be on that plantation, even they can stay there. But most people are waking up now, especially in the black community. Next election is not going to be the same for Black America. There's not going to be the same because we're going to look at policy, not identity politics. We're going to be, look, I'm speaking every day, speaking to 2.0. I don't care if I have to do rallies, whatever, make this thing blow up big, whatever. But we're not going to sit on the sideline and our community is not taken care of. And every community that's in the United States of America for Americans need to be taken care of. That's all of us. We're in this together. We're in this together. And I'm glad that Trump, no matter how hard it is, because he has to be the referee of the world, the ATM of the world, that it's hard for him to focus on our country.
He's literally Captain America.
He's Captain America. We gotta call Trump. We're gonna get a Trump shirt.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Trump is he's Captain America.
Captain America.
Yeah. Trump is the real life Captain America. Say that in the chat. Trump is Captain America.
Steve Rogers, no, more like Donald Trump.
Yes, that's exactly who he is. Because we don't have to answer to you why we not at work. I mean, like, why you not at work? You obviously not at work if you watching us.
In case that
When did we become on a schedule?
In case that due process is for American citizens, not illegal trespassers. Yep.
Yeah, the Constitution and all that was written for us. But it's funny how Obama, I think that he deported more people in the history of the United States. No, he even had kids and people in cages. Nobody said due process. He deported them out. President Clinton.
Oh, now people are arguing, saying immigrants are entitled to due process.
They not. They not Americans. Did they have due process coming in this country? Where was the due process them coming into this country? Did when Clinton was president, he deported 12.3 million people? How come it wasn't due process then? How come Bush 10.3 million? How come there was no due process for them? Trump could barely get 100,000 criminals out of the country. That costs. We don't have the money that we're going to play this lefties game. Our Constitution was written for us, not for the rest of the world. Not for the rest of the world. That's just a ploy by the left. They got Democrats talking, oh, tell them the word of the day, due process. Oh, they got to have due process. Yeah, millions more dollars of our taxpayer dollars per person. No. We paid enough. No. No, no, no. We're not giving any more money to people who are not even citizens of this country. Y'all have taxed us out.
They didn't think about due process. It will take years.
They said it'd be like 200 years.
Yeah.
There will be no America. If we don't do something, it won't be America. Look,
the whole time.
Look, we got the debt. They don't understand. Yeah. This debt is, we have to do something, or we can say goodbye to America. And we can't do it with these people on our backs. We're not in a position to support 14 million plus people. We're supporting them. And they're eating into our health care, our Medicaid, our Medicare, our Social Security, our housing, our schools, our education. They're eating into all our resources. And we can't afford it. The things that we've done and all the money we spent, it should have went to Americans. They should have went to Americans, especially our vets. How about that? Especially our homeless. How about that? Why don't y'all fight that hard for our vets and our homeless and our people that are, you know, below the poverty range and all of that? Fight for people like that it should have went to, and it didn't, and it still hasn't. That's who you should be fighting for. But if you're American, you should have a problem with them burning the American flag. Do y'all have a problem with the immigrants burning and spitting on the American flag? I'm going to show that video later on. With them spitting and burning, I might just bring it up. They were spitting and burning the American flag. I'm going to do this later, but I might show them because that was just horrible. They were spitting and burning the American flag. What was that? Can you find it for me, Elijah? I want to show them how horrific that was. They turned California in. It was on Fox News. Porter. They said a porter almost got hit with one of those like grenades.
The portal?
Reporter.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, reporter. So it would be under that. So I'm just going to just want to show you. I was, appalled at what I saw. And you don't want to become a citizen of this country. You like being illegal. You don't want to follow our laws. Where? Yeah. Okay. Let's put this on. Y'all like that? Let's look at that again. This is what they doing. Look at it. Spitting on the flag, right? Burning it. Look at this.
Look at what the Democrats have done.
That looks like America, right? That's what's going on. And Trump needed to send the National Guards. You're American. How you like that? How do you like that? Get them F out. Black people are finally starting to wake up. Yeah. You in La La Land talking about lies. You just saw it for yourself. Disgusting. That's just, and how you going to come into our country and disrespect us like that? How are you going to come into a country that's taking care of you, that's giving you all these resources, that put you in front of the American people, and you feel so emboldened? See, that's what happens. That's what happens when you do kids like that. That's what happens when you give people stuff freely, when they don't earn it. What entitlement is that? That you feel like our government is supposed to do what you say. That you're not supposed to follow the laws, and you're going to tell the president of the United States what to do, that you're illegal, and so what? I'm going to burn your flag, I'm going to tear your streets up, I'm going to have my cars driving in circles, and I'm just going to wave my country flag, the country they need to go back to. They don't fly the American flag. Did they spit on their flags? No. Are they appreciative of being here in this country? No. Did they show us respect? No. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't respect that. They don't respect us. They don't respect any of us. Look at what they're doing. That's not a winning thing that's going on out there. That's not getting the support of American people with that behavior. You're destroying. People live in those communities. They're destroying it. They're destroying it. They didn't earn it. They didn't build it. They don't support it. They didn't even earn to be there. And they all want to flock because the weather to California. And they got the liberals there, the worst governor in the country next to Chicago. I mean, and they're allowing them to take over the freaking city and allowing them to behave like that, and they don't touch them. The cops aren't even allowed to stop them. They literally have been physically pushing back and attacking the officers. That's wow. When I saw that, that's what's here. And those weren't even the criminals that ICE went to get off the streets. They're fighting tooth and nail to stop ICE from getting the worst of the worst off the streets. ICE wasn't getting random people. They were getting people that had committed heinous crimes. And they're protesting like that to stop them from removing them off the street. And those were the ones that they weren't even after. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. It doesn't even look like America. That's stuff that I used to turn on the TV and I would see that in another country. That it's never been outsiders from another country doing this kind of crap. There's a difference if you're American and you got issues and you acting up, but they never let us take it, not to the level that they escalated to, and they only been here for like 3 years. 3 years? We've been here, black people been here 400 years. 3 years. It took us hundreds of years, 400 years before we blew up. And like enough is had enough, but eventually, you know, people are going to blow. They're going to get tired of injustices. We had a reason. We had wrong leaders, but we had a reason at least to be upset. They haven't been here no freaking 400 years going through injustices. What injustices have they been through? What injustices have they been through? Everything's been given to them. What have injustices? What, the luxury apartments? The SNAP, $3,000, $10,000 a month SNAP benefits? Can you believe that? The cars, the education, the health care? How are they on Social Security? How are they getting Medicaid and Medicare? What injustices have been done to them? None. And they're acting like that? No one attacked them. They're attacking the people that are doing their jobs. ICE is doing their jobs. They're making America safe. They're doing their jobs. We don't do what they say. They don't dictate to us. So what's going on there? That's absolutely crazy. But that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. How entitled are they? What are you complaining about? You got the best world living here in America, and you're acting like this? You want to run our government? You want to keep listening to them Democrats, because we're going to ship you out of here quick, fast, in a hurry. Because when America starts speaking, and a lot of us black people now are getting tired of all of this, like we had a reason. We were here 400 years to get upset about things that have happened to us. But y'all only been here 3 years. And y'all had the rolled carpet rolled out for you. All your needs be met. Y'all said you ain't like the food. Y'all went in the food. They threw the food away. They gave what they wanted. They were giving them ATM cards with, what was it, $10,000, $20,000 a month or something was doing in New York? Some pilot program, giving them all kinds, just raining money on them. Just raining money on them. What are they complaining about? What are they complaining about? You came here illegally. What have you done since you've been here to get your citizenship? Have you applied for citizenship? You think that that's what we want? We don't want you here. Not like that. You weren't even the ones being arrested. You're supposed to be vetted. You know? And I don't care. Like, this channel is great. We want to hear different opinions. But if I'm so damn wrong or whatever, tell me differently. Tell me that every freaking news program, everybody is seeing what's going on. Are these people here illegally or not? Answer that question. And do you think that that's what we want here in America? Do you think we want these people who are not from this country, they proudly flying their flag of their countries? Do you think that we want them coming to our country, burning our flag and spitting on it, disrespecting us? Do you really think that? You're ignorant. You're ignorant. No, what this person's talking about, like, this is not what we want. And America, we're going to stand 10 toes down. They got fentanyl coming in. That kills more people than it. We got the cartel. We got 350 terrorists. We got 2 million gotaways. They came in, 15,000 convicted murderers, 13,000 convicted rapists. All this. Are you kidding me? You can get thee behind me. You know the rest. If that went over your head. Look, we're here. And we see this. And we didn't sign up for what the Democrats did to this country. The Democrats did this. That previous administration, everything we're going through and everything that's going on is because of what they did. Why do you think they opened up the borders? Why do you think it was such a rush to get millions and millions and millions of people in a short span of time into this country? You think it was because of farms? We were taking care of them prior to them. It's not farms.
Just ignore that comment.
Yeah, well, we know that that's not their real name. And they most definitely not American. And they suffering from only something that a therapist can help them with. Because sometimes this truth is not in people. And when truth hits them in the face, they have no comeback. So what they do, they try to, when somebody else has a different opinion, they try to insult instead of saying, tell me something differently. Because they have nothing to stand on. You know, they're an empty vessel. If the problem is that maybe that person is illegal and you need to get your citizenship. You need to get your citizenship. Yeah. Because if you're American and you're seeing what they have done and what they continue to do, they have nothing to fight and fuss about. Everything's been given to them. Everything's been given to them. So for them to be doing what they're doing, I could put it on right now and show the chaos that's going on in LA. Was trying to stick on point, like with this program. I'm gonna come back on. I'm trying not to go off subject because I can show you around 1,000 different broadcasts that are going on what these people are doing in this country right now, and they belong here. They're criminals.
You guys can check out our previous live stream to see it for yourself. Or
yeah, our live stream that we did. What did we say? We called it. Where's the previous live stream?
We called it.
I know. Okay. Is this a third world country or is this a third world country? You could look it up. Because this isn't what America.
This is the fastest.
This has changed tremendously. And this is not what we signed up for. You could look at is this a third world country or America? That's the previous video we did yesterday. I think it had like 45,000 views. What is it? Because what's going on in California is unrecognizable. And how can somebody come in that's not even a part of this country make these kind of demands on our president and our police officers and ICE and Homeland Security, and they're supposed to just run amok. That's what Governor Newsom wanted them to do. And he wants to be president. He can forget it. He will not become president of the United States of America. That's a fact. He's supposed to stand up. One thing a leader is supposed to do is keep the peace. God says seek peace. You shall always seek peace. He allowed all this stuff to go on just like he allowed the wildfires. And then for them just to burn down California, the Palisades. He's the worst governor. There's so many terrible Democratic governors, from the governor, the mayor in Boston, the mayor Brandon in Chicago, their
Yes.
governor.
Yes, Trump is peace. He's the only one that has been president that has been able to bring peace, because people actually respect him, unlike Joe Biden and Kamala and Tampon Town.
I could put, you know what, I might put just a little bit so that they can see another Black perspective. Find Anton. I just want the girl to speak, because I'm going to do a video on it as well.
Is that Anton?
Yeah. Put him on. He just did the one, like how Black Americans feel. Because I want to do a video like that too. Okay, the Black Americans are talking about deport them all.
He's crazy saying that though.
Let's see. Let's get this one out. I'll just give you a little idea of where we are right now. Not just coming from myself, but a lot of Black Americans, we're not here for this.
I'm trying my hardest.
Okay, wait a minute. I do not want him in my video. I'm big head.
I am trying my hardest to understand why the ICE protesters, some of them, are going around and waving their country flag, but yet they won't go home. You're burning up American flags and waving your country's flags, but yet you're in America, protesting against ICE. I don't understand it. Go back home. Deport them all. No excuses no more. Seriously. And Governor Gavin Newsom, he needs to be arrested. I don't understand it. I really don't. For all you liberals, Democrats, whatever you want to call it.
Go ahead. It's a young girl.
You do not like America, deport yourself or allow ICE to deport you. It's simple. These people are hypocrites too, because Obama deported way more illegal immigrants than Trump.
Tell them.
The outrage. Again, where was the outrage?
That's what I've been saying. Where was the outrage? Go ahead, baby.
The reason that it does.
See, that's our sentiments. That's how we feeling now. Where was the outrage? Obama deported more people than any other president. Nobody said anything. There was zero, I think, what was it? Injunctions on President Obama. President Clinton deported 12.3 million. Zero injunctions. Nobody said anything. No problem. The Bush, he deported 10 million. Nobody said anything. Nobody said anything about the people they deported. Nobody said due process. Obama had people in cages. And nobody, where was hands all protests and where was 50-51 and all this outrage? And they should have been having a protest against the left, because they did it. That's how gaslighted people are. They protesting the wrong person. The people that did it, they're the ones they supporting. It's crazy. And Trump tried to get the criminals out. And guess what? The other presidents didn't have MS-13. They didn't have Trinidad Araga. They didn't have 350 terrorists. They didn't have the cartel in here like this. They didn't have all this. And this is what ICE is trying to get out. But they got out. They deported millions and millions and millions of people. And Trump can't even have ICE get out the worst of the worst. we're not here for it. See, most of us black people, boy, we most definitely waking up, and we're not here for it. We're not here for it. We tired. We tired because we see what's going on, and all that gaslighting days is over with. I'm sorry, it's over with. Those people that are doing all of that, they're not the ones that were being arrested. They're not the ones that they were even after. But they just escalated the situation because now eyes is on them. They're a representation of why we say now, like she was saying, deport all of them. No more excuses. Yeah, we're tired now of all of this nonsense because it's not, this is not what America is about. America is about the land of opportunity. America is about, you know, us able to move forward. And right now, all of that's going on, they're taken away from the mission. The mission is to get out of $36 trillion out of debt. Like Trump did today while they doing all that crazy stuff. Y'all saw the videos. Trump got a plan for your children's children. That they have a head start in life. What other president has done that? Trump having a meeting with investors about no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, taking care of people with disability. I mean, he's trying to move the country forward. And this is what they're spending their time doing. The left. That's what the left is supporting. Instead of supporting a president that's trying to make the country better, they're trying to build the country back up. So anyway, I just think that it's crazy. God bless President Trump. People don't want to hear the truth. And only people that I could see that's been so gaslighted, it's a shame when people can't do independent thinking. Like, not to do independent thinking. And people know when you're speaking the truth because you can feel and hear. You know when someone is speaking the truth. When people have nothing to stand on, that's when they attack. That's when they say rude things because there's nothing there. You're empty. There's nothing there. And you don't say this to your Democratic or your Republican neighbor or your Republican at your job, or you don't say nothing to your families. See, online, everybody is the big dog, but they hide behind, the internet, and they don't even show their pictures. They don't show who they are. They just try to be rude because they have no platform. They have nothing to add to the conversation except for trying to put down someone that's actually trying to do something. You got to say at the very least that at least if you are American, well, obviously you must not be, at least he's trying to do something for America. And I am all in for that. I'm all for it. Thank you. No, they know the truth. See, they know the truth. And at the end of the day, you can't come online unless you can stand 10 toes down because you're going to have trolls. You're going to have people that don't agree with you. And I don't expect anybody to agree, but I do expect people to use the dictionary. It's something that we all should use. Use the dictionary to express yourself. You don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to curse. If you have something to say, this platform allow you, unlike mainstream media, you could give your viewpoint. But when you just want to just call names and stuff, I don't go tick for tat because I'm an adult. And you can't come on here unless you can handle it. But I know I'm perfectly and wonderfully made. I love who I am. And I absolutely love being black. I love being black. I would not want to be anything other than how God created me. So it's a blessing. And you should be happy with whatever your ethnicity is. And the point of being different, yeah, it's great to have a different of opinion. That's how you have conversation. That's called communication. And it's a wonderful thing. But when people say something you don't like, that don't mean to have a pissy fit and have a tantrum. and it get all in your feelings. And that's what people do that say ignorant things. Like the person said, oh, she's being ignorant. Yeah, that's because they have nothing to say. They have nothing to add. But just like they say, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Just look at the chat, what everyone else is saying. If you can't say anything productive, maybe you should be a listener. Maybe you can grow from this. Maybe you can learn something new. You know, this is like everyone's on here from different parts of the world, different parts of the country. You know, people are from everywhere, and we respect that. But I want people to be able to tell me why you feel the way you do. What is it that I'm saying that's wrong? What is it that you don't agree with? You know, that's what I want. That's what's important. You know, I'm not hating on anyone. And it's sad when people don't have anything to stand on, then they attack. And that's when you see how that shows weakness to me. That shows that you are a coward. It shows weakness, and that's not a good look. That's what that shows. I'm about America first. And I'm always going to be about America first because America spends too much time rescuing the world. But when we need to be rescued, there's no one here for us. And what has been going on, we can't afford this to continue. For anybody that knows finance, I'm in finance. Anybody knows about finance, you can't continue like this. You know, this person is just, you know, there's a lot of different content creators, and you're not, you have nothing there. And that's the end of the day. There's nothing there for you. And only thing you can do is pray for people. But I believe that we have the right person running this country. Because I couldn't see Kamala. She wasn't about America first. Neither was Tim Pontel. Biden he didn't even know he was president. You know, he didn't govern at all, and no one had a problem with that. Look at all the truth that's coming out about that administration. And we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg of all that undercover, all that stuff that's been going on, that was going on behind the scenes. Who made all these decisions about Ukraine and Gaza? And look at how high they had the inflation, the economy. Or then they celebrating Transgender Day on they did Day of Visibility on Resurrection Sunday, on God's Day. I mean, they got away from God totally. The Democratic Party is not about God. God is not there. They used to be the people's. They were supposed to be the people's party. They're not about the American people at all. They don't stand for American people. Even the unions didn't support the Democratic Party. They broke away. That's never happened. The AFL-CIO and everybody, they're like, oh, bye, we're not supporting this. The steel workers, all these different people. They went over to the Republican side because the Republicans became about the people. They have become the people's party. Now, I don't know after Trump leaves what's going to happen. Are they going to continue? But as far as Trump's administration and what he's doing, he was needed at a time like this because we were going to go and fall to a point that nobody was going to be able to bring us out of this. And I don't see anybody else that was running for president that could do what Trump is doing right now. So it's a blessing that he is a businessman, and he's used to being a world businessman, and he already knows these people, and they know who he is, and he's a former president. Thank God for Trump. Thank God. So anyway, you guys, we're ready to jump off. Thank you for supporting the channel. Republicans are the People's Party. Thank you. Yeah, Action 5 trillion. Dad, thank you. Trump is trying. He inherited this. That's what y'all really, hey, Chevy, y'all need to understand that he inherited this mess. This was dumping into his lap. And I'm glad that he is the president of the United States of America. And I'm glad that he's sending them troops. He's probably going to have to send more because this isn't over with. You know, the left is trying to spin this like what's going on in California is his fault. I mean, when are they going to stop doing that and take ownership and call it what it is? That this is their lack of action, and they're the reason for everything that we're going through are the Democrats, the left. They open up these borders, and that's why now we're dealing with it. But they don't want us to look at them, and they don't fight for us. But we're going to have to stand 10 toes down, and we're going to have to start calling them out. The people that's standing, we need America First, whatever, rally or something. Those 77 million people that voted this man in office, we need to show our support for him because we can override everything that's going on with the left. We need to show him because he didn't just win all swing states. He won the popular vote as well. So there's more for him than against him. You know, the word like God says is more, is more for him than against him. So we need to let him know we are supporting him. And I'm glad he's the president. And I'll probably jump on here a little bit later on to see what's going on in California. I know everybody is reporting it. We did it yesterday. Like I said, the video is like, is this a third world country or America? Because it's starting not to look like America. And when they get to the point that they burning our flag and spitting on our flag, you don't need to be here. You're already letting us know you don't belong here. And they weren't even after you. And so these are the people that they weren't even after that are behaving that way. And they think they're going to overrun our government, and you're here illegally, but you're going to overrun our government. How emboldened are they? You're going to overrun our government, not follow our laws, going to tell our president and our government what to do and what they're not going to do. Sure you are. Sure you are. Trump ain't going to play with you. Hey, outlaw. Trump is not playing, and he's not going to play with you. You're not going to overtake our government. And like I showed you earlier, like, black people, we're moving forward. We like, look, deport them all. Get them all out of here. Because we didn't sign up for any of this. And like I said, the Democrats gaslighting, like they were not brought here to pick farm crops. They were brought here for votes. We didn't need 14 million people for farms. We don't even have that many farms. And we were doing it already 4 years ago without them. So nothing has changed. So that's all being gaslighted by the Democratic Party. We don't need them for that. We were doing it before them, and we'll do it after them. All it's been is a burden to America, and I'm about America first, period. And you're not going to come here burning our flag, spitting on our flag, disrespecting our men and women that have fought and died for this country. That was an abomination. And then you're going to fly your flag all proudly while you're here in America. What kind of mess is that? Hi, outlaw. How you doing today? They flying they country's flag while you spit and burn ours. I mean, the audacity of it. The audacity. When I saw that today, I was like, this is crazy. This is such a disrespect to us as Americans, and they felt emboldened to do it. Those that say, I'm gonna get off, but I'll just put it on just for people to see. This is what I didn't like. Third world country. This is America.
Scenes, just some of the many scenes. Parts of Los Angeles were a mess over the weekend. You've got
Look at this.
immigration raids setting
This
off
is
3
America.
days of often violent protests that escalated into riots. So good
Look
morning,
at this.
everybody. On a Monday, we'll see where we are now. Hope you enjoyed the weekend. Back to the week we go. I'm Bill.
That's crazy. That's unacceptable. You see, what did that look like to you? Did that look like America? Because it didn't look like America to me. I thought I was watching something like in one of them foreign countries. That's crazy. How many of them have even applied for citizenship? How many of them are trying to become legal? How many of them are following our laws? This is ridiculous. And we're not going to have that. You can't, they don't even want you to lock up the people that ICE have found to be, they have committed crimes since they've been here. Murders, have raped people, have robbed people, have done all kinds of things, and they're fighting for them. The illegals are fighting for them to be let free, I guess. It's crazy. You know, Christ is King, Jesus is Lord. So we're not going to play those games. But God is good. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining. I've got to get ready to get off of here. And probably might jump back on here later on. Good to see you, Outlaw. And Chevy, thanks you guys. And Mr. Boosie, I don't know if you're still on, one of the other moderators. And I see Eric. Thanks. Yeah, Eric, I just made you a moderator. I saw you've been active. So anyway, you guys, God bless you. Enjoy some of this day. I know it's a lot going on. We probably back on because, you know, I don't know. This is not going to be settled overnight, what's going on in California. But I want to hear from Governor Newsom. I want to hear from Mayor Bass. Like, they're trying to go after Trump and for sending the National Guards there. I mean, they have to be out of their mind because their city is being overrun and taken over. They're attacking the cops. Did y'all see the vehicles that they destroy? They don't care if they hit a cop. They don't care. They punching, hitting, they're attacking the officers. They're attacking ICE. I mean, they literally are fighting with them. The rest of us, you hit one of them, you're in jail immediately. Not them. You know. You're welcome. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to come back on later on. We're going to pick up, you guys. So don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, the notification bell. You want to say hi, Chevy and Outlaw?
What's up, Chevy and Outlaw?
Yeah, y'all came at the
watching,
end.
Everyone. Thanks for watching. Guess we'll see you at the next stream. We're saying stuff still.
Thanks, guys.
Someone said Looney Tunes.
We appreciate you. You hit it off. We appreciate everyone. Much love. God bless.
God bless you.
We love you.
Love you.